Yo guys, what is going on? Welcome into Rove Sports. Doing some cell phone vids in a car. Just as convenient sometimes as doing one on a computer in front of a green screen, even though the graphics look better. Probably gonna have the audio sound a lot better. I might even fire one up tonight, or maybe do a little call-in show tonight. Let's talk the emotions of the Giants right now. 1, the Eagles lost. 2, you're tied with the Cowboys, so you control your own destiny. Whenever you could control your own destiny in anything in your life, that's a pretty damn good feeling, right? Especially in these uncertain times. But we're not going to talk about times. We're going to talk about something that's really fun to talk about. At least to me, which is NFL football, and specifically this New York Giants team. So, Joe Burrow's not playing. Brutal injury. Hate to see any injuries happen to pretty much anybody in sports. I think in all cases, everybody should hate injuries. It's pretty simple. It's tragic. Joe Burrow, too. Great kid. Great character kid at LSU. Trying to resurrect a franchise in the Bengals that haven't been good since like Marvin Lewis left, and since they were there with Vontaze Burfict and Pac-Man Jones, and the intensity of the Bengals back in 2011 and 2012. Some great games against the Steelers and stuff back then. But now the Giants have a couple of hurdles to get over in this game. 1, they're now the favorite. Everybody expects the Giants to go in there and win. There's not a lot of real positive things that you're going to receive from the media if you win, because it's Ryan Finley, and he's not a good quarterback. He's terrible. It's the Bengals. They're not a good franchise, and they just lost Joe Burrow. So the Giants, even if they win 35-7, you're not going to get great praise because it's just Cincinnati. The game against Seattle, that game's very easy to be motivated for. You're playing Russell Wilson. You're playing a great team. It's the benchmark of the NFL when you go to Seattle. When you play but when you play Ryan Finley, how are you going to get up for that game, right? And there's no real upwards incentive to play the game and play really well. But I think there is. You try to win 3 games. You have the playoffs in sight. Here's the other hurdle that we're going to get on, and let's really discuss this Joe Judge and Dave DeGuglielmo, Mark Colombo thing. Let's discuss the coaching staff and all the rumors right now. 1, I like Joe Judge a lot. I think that he's brought in some toughness, stability to the organization. They're running the football. It's not a soft culture. In the past with McAdoo and specifically Shermer, a lot of players could mouth off, whether it be Janoris Jenkins or even Snacks Harrison. Guys would go on social media and rip the team. The Golden Tate benching was a very strong move, and Golden Tate took it like a man, and he came back and played great. So I'm proud of every party involved. I'm proud of Golden Tate because nobody's going to be perfect, and people are going to make mistakes. And Golden Tate, for him to respond, but also for Joe Judge to coach Golden Tate and show that even in professional sports, you could still try to discipline guys in the right way. And credit to Gettleman for understanding that's part of also the scouting process, is bringing in guys that are mature enough to take tough coaching. If you're going to, and sometimes, you can have a player's coach, you can have a Bruce Arians that'll let anybody do anything. And then maybe sometimes your talent, sometimes you have great leaders, whatever. That sometimes you build a soft atmosphere, but sometimes the talent, whatever's, But the Giants are not doing that. That's why the scouting of psychology, of personality is so important in the game of football. So the thing is, though, with Joe Judge, I've liked how they've began to run the football. I like how Joe Judge will discipline guys. I like how Joe Judge is patient, how every week is its own entity. I'm really buying into that. Because against the Bucs, I was ready to pretty much throw in the towel on Jones in this entire season. and then they play the best game of the year against the Eagles 2 weeks later, and Daniel Jones didn't turn it over. And this offense, now you look at it, it's consistently over 20 points, like the entertainer said in his video. So the point is, though, about Joe Judge is, one, let's just face it, he made a mistake in hiring Mark Colombo. Now, I guess not every coach is going to be perfect. So sometimes you have to discover whether a coach is right or not. Made a mistake, but corrected the mistake. Now, two, he has to still get along with his guys, because there's going to be guys in the offensive line room that are probably going to miss Mark Colombo. So there's a chance that there's a little mutiny going on here. And the media, they're not really going to like Joe Judge. He's a Patriots guy. He really disciplines players in a way that a lot of people in the media, they are always going to kind of seek out the player side, because they're going to try to get scoops from players. So they're going to have ultimate sympathy for the player, not for the older people. If you're older, if you're an owner, if you're a coach, they're not going to have a lot of sympathy for a 50-year-old coach or a 40-year-old coach. But if you're a 22, 25-year-old individual, and also the scoops that the players get, if you're a writer and you support players, you're going to be able to get more access to interviews. So these coaches that are more strict on players, they oftentimes on social media are not going to be reflected well by, I think, the writers of CBS Sports, of ESPN, of the major sites, Bleacher Report, okay? That's just my opinion on the matters here. It's why Joe Judge is not very popular. It's why nobody likes how he makes the coaches run laps, or how he makes the guys wear tennis balls. People were talking on television, on the boob tube, on the television set. They were saying Joe Judge is out of touch with modern football, and he's trying to coach like he's from the 1950s. So Mark Colombo, so first of all, Jason Garrett and Joe Judge, the fact that they're not getting along, it's very interesting. Because why would Joe Judge bring in Jason Garrett? Was he rushing the staff? He said he's not going to rush the staff. But meanwhile, why is Garrett not getting along with Joe Judge? Maybe just Jason Garrett. When you're the offensive coordinator, you need to serve the head coach. You need to be in line with what he wants to do before you accept the job. Now, maybe Jason Garrett wanted the job, wanted millions of dollars. Mark Colombo then gets brought in, and maybe Joe Judge, he's never met Colombo, so I guess I can understand it. And maybe with the coronavirus, they didn't have as much time to communicate in the same room with each other. But the fact that these guys are not really getting along, it's a little strange. But in fairness, I give Joe Judge a ton of credit, because some guys would hang on to a lame duck hire for a while. And if there's somebody that doesn't get along with you, get him out. Because the point is, this team is going to sink or swim with Joe Judge, not Mark Colombo and not Jason Garrett. For Daniel Jones, I completely agree with what a lot of people have said, that by getting rid of Jason Garrett, it would suck. Because the thing is about Jason is that he's really he's starting to operate quarterback run game. The offensive line and the running game is starting to look great. I'm loving the way that Jason's calling games, and he's starting to be more aggressive, throwing it down the field with Darius Slayton. So the offense has looked really good. Now, maybe Joe Judge sees that it's against terrible teams, but these are still NFL teams. These are still talented teams, regardless. That's why even Cincinnati, they get paid millions of dollars to play. So, this is a trap game of all trap games. But the thing is about Joe, the thing is about Jason Garrett, if Jones and Garrett, if Garrett ends up leaving for Jones, it absolutely sucks, because then you're going to have to learn a new system. And Daniel Jones this year, he was terrible at the beginning of the season trying to figure out the new system. And then next year, if you have to institute another offensive coordinator, he's going to have more hurdles again instead of staying on this linear path with Jason Garrett. And it's pretty crazy because 2 weeks ago, I thought this offensive line loved Mark Colombo, and Colombo's a player's coach. And I do believe the report that the players really like Mark Colombo. And he is tighter to them than probably Joe Judge is. And this DeGuglielmo guy, I was not in favor of signing him in the offseason. I'll be completely honest with you. So let's take off our Judge-colored glasses, the Giants-colored glasses here. DeGuglielmo, there's a player on the Oakland Raiders that said that when DeGuglielmo was on the Colts, his brother tragically died, and DeGuglielmo had no sympathy for that individual. And that to me is like that to me is just not really showing empathy. That's kind of being a little, that comes off like being like kind of a jerk in that one scenario. Now, I don't know DeGuglielmo, so maybe that was a moment of that he regrets. Maybe the story is not accurate from the player's perspective. Maybe it's completely accurate. I don't want to call somebody, I mean, it's tough, right? That's tough to defend. I've never met Dave DeGuglielmo, though, and it wasn't a physical altercation that could be a jailable offense. So maybe the guy is not completely a horrible human, or he's not a bad dude. But he wears out his welcome, not only with the Colts, but in multiple places. So this is a huge risk, and I didn't like it. I believe that when you hire a coach, I'm a big believer in the character component. Some people are like, get the most talented guy for the job. Put it this way, if the team produces, the team's cool with Dave DeGuglielmo, the guys like him, Joe Judge, and I trust Judge because I think he does hire guys with great character. Like you look at Brett Bielema, you look at Patrick Graham. These are good guys, and I think that Joe Judge and DeGuglielmo, and there are also guys like Quentin Nelson that really like supported DeGuglielmo over the time period. So it's going to be interesting, but the fact that like he hired Colombo, like it is a mistake. He got rid of that mistake. So it hasn't been perfect. Like you can't defend Joe Judge for making that decision, right? Because when you hire a staff, you want your staff to be aligned with you together. And that's the thing. And this whole like public thing, it isn't great on anybody, but at least Joe Judge, maybe it is better for Judge to get rid of Colombo than to be PC and not make a big stink about it and then sacrifice like some of your teaching. So it actually takes balls for Joe Judge to fire Colombo because of now we're talking about it. The media will pick it up and everything along those lines. But it's a very interesting dynamic. And also, Jason Garrett brought in Derek Dooley. Jason Garrett brought in Mark Colombo as well. So Colombo's a Garrett guy. He coached him. He was with him in Dallas. So there's a chance that Daniel Jones might have to learn a new system next year. I don't know if you fire Garrett now. I don't know if you can. Who are you going to hire as your next coordinator? But for Joe Judge, if you're a really great coach like Jay Wright, you know what Jay Wright says? You got to think 3 years ahead. So you look at Patrick Graham. I don't want Patrick to be hired by somebody else. I want Patrick to make as most money as he can and be successful. But from a selfish standpoint, I want him to be the defensive coordinator of the Giants for 5 to 10 years. I absolutely love Patrick Graham's work. He's done phenomenally well. He also seems like a great guy in his interviews. And, I mean, his reputation is absolutely spectacular. Same with Henderson, same with Sean Spence, and same with the guys like Brett Bielema and the guy from Tennessee, the linebackers coach. You look at Brenton Burns, I've heard from multiple people he's brilliant, that he's one of the best coaches in the NFL at the running back spot. You look at a Tolbert, the wide receiver coach in McGlinchey, and it seems like a really good staff. Okay, I like the staff a lot. So the thing is now, point is that Patrick is probably going to be hired to be a head coach, and he's going to get paid a lot of money, and we're all going to say congratulations. But then, who are you going to replace Patrick with if you're very successful? You need to have a line of coaches that you and ownership, Judge, Gettleman, and Mara and Tisch need to have lines of coaches that they're ready to rock with. If Jason doesn't come back, They need to have like 3 guys that they're going to be interviewing for the offensive coordinator that philosophy-wise, psychologically, they get along with. But this game against the Bengals, hey, it's a chance to win 3 straight games. The Eagles lost, which is great. Against the Cowboys, you control your own destiny because you play them at the end of the year. You could beat them. I think the Cowboys are going to slip up once or twice. The Giants against Cincinnati, it's a game you got to get up early on. You got to pressure Ryan Finley. The defense should hopefully be lights out and be really good in this spot. It's a game where, yeah, you expect them to play really well. Got to run the ball, protect. And again, it's a little bit of a tough game. It's going on the road. It's a real trap game environment like we talked about Ryan Finley. And if you lose this game, it's absolutely embarrassing. The fan base is absolutely going to lose their mind. I'll be disappointed for sure. I also understand now more that this is a team that's, that's very much a work in progress. I'm hopeful. I have a little bit of hope now, but this is a work in progress. So this whole DeGuglielmo thing and Joe Judge thing, I trust Joe Judge. I like the way that the team is going. I'm a big supporter of what Judge is doing. I like what Daniel Jones is doing as well. This DeGuglielmo thing, it does come with risk, absolutely. And the hiring process for the offensive line group could get better. But overall, to have the staff intact, it just is going to speak to how good Joe Judge is at managing these guys, and how good his hiring was in the first place. Because if you're going to run a tight ship and you're going to run a Patriot-style thing, your staff has to think along your lines of old school tough. And you can't have like multiple motives, and at least Joe Judge deciphered that early on in the process. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've enjoyed making it. A little car video here, and try to post this pretty soon. So, alrighty guys, take care. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your night. Everybody out there listening to the show or watching the show. Alrighty guys, take care. We'll see you.